good word. I reckon last week I was probably disappointed for the players. This week I'm very disappointed in us.
What did you say to them?
Oh, well, that's for closed doors. But I can give you the simple fact is that they outran us. They out-touched us. Their one touch is they're going to be a very powerful side when they get a bit more maturity. And right now they've got the ingredients of a very good football side that you know, when you look at some of the players who in around the ball, they're just good one-touch players. We were dreadful in one touch, dreadful. We gave the ball back to them time and time and time again. And you can't win games of footy when you give the ball back.
Was it all just a matter of skill, or was there an mental element to it?
Well, I'm starting to think that just mentally we just don't get up for 3 weeks in a row. We may not have won the last 2 games, but we counted for 2 top quality sides in desperation and probably got finished off by better players. And I'm not saying for one moment that Greater Western Sydney aren't a better combination, but they're still got a lot of youth. And unfortunately, when we needed things to take place on the ground, they weren't taking place on the ground. And that gets down to people taking charge. You can say leadership. I think it's internal leadership. Internal being the player himself, not internal the football club, where players just have to take charge of and be responsible for setups, the ability to will yourself to win a game. I said 2 weeks ago, there's no doubt in my mind Selwood willed Geelong to beat us, and he beat us in a stoppage and kicked the goal and we didn't get back. You know, the same could be said about 1 or 2 players from Hawthorn last week, and this week, you know, the players that willed the victory were unfortunately for us all Greater Western Sydney players. We had no one there that stood up and took control.
Michael, how do you win? You've lost the teams now, 14th, 15th, 16th, etc.
Well, that's where we are right now. And I think that's evident. Aren't they 4 wins? We're 4 and they're 4. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't much matter about percentage because they got one big flogging, and I suppose that's done a bit of their percentage in. But outside of that, there's a lot of sides very even, and it may well be from ninth side down that are all looking at 7th and 8th and saying, well, we want to make it and we could make it. But right now, statistically, I suppose there's Essendon's the closest one to it.
You feel like you're playing like a bottom 4 side?
Bottom 10 side. I don't think there's. I think it fluctuates on the week you turn up, and that's disappointing. The top 8 are worthy of being top 8 because they've been able to hold their consistency longer, and in crunch games they win. And I'm not speaking on behalf of other clubs, but when you get in a position to win games of football, at least level it off. Unfortunately, we're just not taking the next step.
Michael, you spoke about will of the players. How do you install that in your players?
It's built in.
It's built in.
Yep.
Can you do anything to inspire that?
If coaches have to inspire players to win, well, we're in the wrong market.
How big a blow was it to lose Mark before the game would hit you right?
I don't know. Still 22 players. It doesn't matter. They lost players as well. You can't just. You know, it's not a matter of who you lose. It's 22 players out there.
Do you feel like this group slipped from the past year?
On the surface, we've played football at the intensity that's required against the top sides. And against sides that are not in the 8, for unknown reasons to me, we do not hold that intensity. And that is so disappointing. And to try to put the finger on what the reason of that is, it is probably a number of combinations that make it happen. And that's what we have to go through to find out exactly why we can't sustain intensity over a long period.
The lack of respect for the opposition.
There's no lack of respect for the opposition. Believe me.
Thanks very much.